Hello and welcome back to Is It Just Us? If you're new here, I need to close the door. Close the door. Even though I feel like it's not going to do anything.
If you're new here, we need to close the door.
I'll try that one again. Wait, how do I start?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello is normally what you say
Hello.
to people.
Awesome. Okay, let's try that one then.
This is early.
It is very early. Hello and welcome back to Is It Just Us? If you're new here, hi, I'm Emily.
I'm James.
And this is the podcast where we talk about all of those topics where you've probably been sat there thinking, is it just me that thinks this way? And we're here to tell you, hopefully not. Except this week, again, it might just be us.
Well, with what we're planning to do at the moment, probably.
It does seem to be just us. So, before we get into this week's episode, how was your week?
It was okay. I mean, last weekend we had a good 4-day weekend.
Yeah, so like if you're in Australia, then you'll know. But I'll say if you're in Australia, if you're in Victoria, you'll know that on Tuesday it was the Melbourne Cup. So that's kind of like a public holiday, which basically means everyone gets the Tuesday off. And because you get the Tuesday off, pretty much all of us take off the Monday. Therefore, 4-day weekend.
Yeah, and it was pretty weird because everyone dresses up in the horse racing. Well, I say the horse racing gear makes it sound like everyone's dressed like a jockey on the street. And it has like, there's weird things you can get where you put your two legs into
the balloon, the inflatable thing.
No, not the inflatable thing. Like, it's like a half of a pantomime horse, but it's like a pair of trousers that just has a horse. If it's not inflatable,
is it not?
I've seen ones that aren't. But then again, I've also seen ones that were like a gorilla giving someone a piggyback, and I've also seen one which was a Teletubby.
I haven't seen the Teletubby one.
You see some weird things on the last day of the season in at the football.
Fair.
Away fans tend to dress up.
Fair. I've never seen a Teletubby one.
Yeah, no. People in Melbourne were just dressing in their. How would you describe it?
Well, let's
posh
put it,
things.
Yeah, let's put it this way: we were at the pub watching the rugby, which we won't mention again after this point. And literally everyone was in suits and ties and dresses and hats, and we were just sat there in our jeans and t-shirts like, what's going on?
Yeah, we've made mistakes.
I mean, thankfully we weren't the only ones.
Yeah.
But we were few of the minority?
We were in the minority.
The minority, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's quite funny. Well, how else was your week?
Got rained on a lot yesterday.
Yeah, I think we're both going to get ill, to be honest.
Go to Australia, they said.
It'll be hot, they said. Oh, it's all lies. All lies. I mean, I've been sending Snapchats to my friends, and literally every time I send a Snapchat, it's raining or it's windy. I mean, Melbourne's awful for it.
Which isn't to say that there's not been hot days.
There has been. There's been like 36 degrees
they're
randomly.
It's not very consistent at the moment.
No, at the moment it's still kind of like autumn at home. Hence why I kind of sound like I have a bit of a cold, because I probably do. So I'm a bit snotty and bunged up, and yeah. So apologies.
Nice.
I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to catch whatever you have, so...
Probably. We can blame everyone in the office.
I might start sleeping on the sofa.
Oh, nice. Nice. But anyway, so this week we kind of wanted to talk about traveling. And obviously, like, I think some of you are probably sat there thinking, wait, hold on a second. You've only just arrived in Melbourne. Why are you talking about traveling?
Well, to be fair, I mean, a lot of people travel first anyway.
Yeah, true.
And then run out of money.
True, but I think a lot of people are probably sat there thinking, you've literally been there for 2 months, why are you talking about leaving? And long story short, although you can so easily just go with the flow and just do it all really last minute, with what we're planning to do, it does actually take a bit more planning. And the weird thing is that we actually technically leave Melbourne in probably about 6 months. So we have 6 months to try and figure out our plan. And again, I know a few of you are probably sat there thinking, 6 months is loads of time.
Yeah, but it's not loads of time when you're working all week and then at the weekend you don't really want to do anything.
Literally. I mean, we are busy people now.
Yeah.
We're at the point now where we're busy, so busy that we are having to record this at like a Friday morning before work because we have no other time. This is our life now. And obviously, like, it's great that we're busy because I think we both thrive off of being busy.
I do also look forward to less busy times.
Yeah, so do I. But so the main thing we're planning at the moment is our road trip. And I think almost every backpacker ever does a road trip around Australia.
Yeah, so you got to at least pick a coast and just go with it.
And I'd probably say like maybe 80 to 90% of people will always choose the East Coast.
Yeah, it's the one that people seem to,
you know, the
always
one
go
where it's
for.
like Sydney to Cairns, you go straight up the East Coast, you know, you go through Byron Bay, Airlie Beach and all of that, which is great. And we will be doing that. But our road trip is going to be very long. And when I say very long, I mean pretty much 70 days. So over 2 months worth of road tripping. So we thought with that amount of time, we want to do as much of Australia as we physically can. So we're doing both coasts. But then obviously we've never done a road trip like this before.
Yeah, don't really know how long it's supposed to take, how short or long it can be.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, some people spend the entire year just going all the way around.
Yeah.
And they go and see everything. They do the outback as well, and they just see pretty much everything that they can. And we won't be able to do that because 70 days is a long time, but it's not that long.
No, and I think everyone forgets how big Australia is because I think when we say 70 days, everyone's like, oh, surely you can do all of Australia in 70 days.
You cannot.
You can't. To put it into perspective, we will be flying from Perth, like to Perth even, from Melbourne. That flight alone is 4 hours. So in the grand scheme of things, pretty much all of Australia is bigger than Europe.
Yeah, and like we're in the smallest state, Victoria.
No, I mean like technically the capital territory is the smallest.
Well, yeah.
But that doesn't really count.
But like it is very small compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
And it's the size of like the UK.
Yeah, literally. And there's time differences in Australia. So, you know, say Sydney to Perth, that's almost a 6-hour flight. I think that puts it into perspective how blooming big Australia is.
Yeah, 6 hours flight from London, you could get to
New York in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's thinking.
Yeah, you can Google it. There's pictures on the internet which show you all of the countries that fit into Australia, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's all of Europe. There's bits of like Japan and, you know, bits of South America. It's honestly huge. So,
but the weird thing is, it's mostly empty.
Literally, it's so weird. And obviously a lot of things are pretty much only on the east or south coast.
Yeah, I mean the coasts are, where the people are.
Yeah, because otherwise it would just get so hot.
If you go through the outback, it's just like dust and Uluru.
And Uluru, yeah, and some kangaroos.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And ostriches.
But yeah, so obviously with a country being this big, it is kind of overwhelming to get your head around how on earth to do it. Like, how do we get the most out of it? And obviously, because we're trying to do the West Coast as well, and it's less done by backpackers, there's not as much information about the West Coast of what to see.
I think it's a lot of the beauty of the West Coast is just you go and see some of the natural landscape, and there's good beaches, great sunsets, just these amazing like land formations.
Yeah.
But it's harder. Yeah, there's less sort of pinpointed, this is where everyone goes, this is what everyone does. I think it's more of a case of a bit of planning and a bit of driving and thinking, ooh,
that looks cool,
we'll go there.
Yeah.
Which is probably how we'll do it. And just kind of go with it a bit. Whereas the East Coast is going to be a lot more planned out and, specific activities and certain days that we're aiming to get for. So, we'll grind out a bit of a drive if we're falling behind schedule. West Coast will be a lot more chilled out, just kind of hope for the best, really.
Yeah, literally. And thankfully, if you follow a few people on Instagram, say like Beth Sandland or who like people like her, you would have heard of a company called Rat Pack Travel. And it's run by a guy called Sammy. And that's who we've chosen to go with purely because they know exactly what they're talking about. And, last night we had a call with them and they basically, had a chat to us, explained who they were, we explained who we were, and we just spoke to them about, our ideas about what we want to do for our road trip. And it was just really nice being able to talk to someone who had done it.
Yeah, knows what they're talking about.
Knows exactly what they're talking about. And
gets very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I loved how excited she was getting. I think we spoke to Maria, I think that's her name, and we loved how excited she was and enthusiastic. And she was like, okay, I'm going to help you draw up a calendar of, what might be a good time frame. They're helping us find a camper van at a really decent price.
Yeah, given that we want to get a camper van that, 2 months is
2 months
just
is a long
about,
time.
but it's short enough that it's still, renting, buying a camper van and then selling it. Renting's still a good option if you just want that security of, it's definitely going to work, and we get, pay for insurance for the company, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a bit more reassuring that you can bring up the rental company if anything goes completely wrong. Whereas if you buy one, you're on your own a bit.
Yeah, and
helps.
to be honest, like it can really start tottling up when you think about it.
But renting a camper van for us is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if you're looking at a longer road trip than what we are, it's probably financially just better to buy one. We are on the cusp of, when it might be an idea to buy, but given that we're still in rental territory, we'll just take the safe option. We want to enjoy ourselves. We don't want to get too stressed.
I think we spoke to Holly, and what I love is that they're all at different places in the world. There's always, I think, at least one or two of them in Australia, and there's always one or two of them in Europe. So as she was saying last night, there is literally always someone awake, which is actually great. And, it's the fact that I can literally call them when we're on the road and say, look, can you give us some tips about, van life, or, where would you recommend us going next, or anything like that? And they're literally like a treasure trove of information, and they're just so easy to talk to, which is great. So if you are planning to do a road trip around New Zealand or Australia, I would highly recommend talking to them. And no, this isn't sponsored. We're not being sponsored to say any of this.
We're just very happy with the service.
Yeah,
we're
really happy with them, and they always try and beat a quote. So if you find a quote, they will try and beat it by at least 10%, which is fantastic, especially when you're going on a road trip for as long as we are. Every little helps. So I would really recommend having a chat to them. But yeah.
It was also nice hearing that what we're planning to do is feasible.
Yes.
Because it's a fairly ambitious plan to go from Perth all the way around to Sydney.
Yeah, the long way round.
The long way round. And we were thinking it'd be nice to do that so that we can do, both coasts and see the Northern Territories, even if we just kind of drive through them.
Yeah.
So that was what we wanted to do. And it is quite ambitious because it's a very, very, very long way. And
oh gosh, yeah.
Some people will happily spend 2 months doing one coast and enjoy it, but we just wanted to see more, see the most of the country,
see as much as we can.
When we said we're planning to do that, and the time frame, they just said, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea. You'll be able to do that really easily." Obviously, we're aware there'll be some days where we spend, I don't know, maybe eight hours driving.
Yeah, and most of it will just be a long driving day,
just to get through to places where we want to be more, which isn't a problem. It's kind of the nature of a road trip. Most people end up driving for about 4 hours a day anyway, at least.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you're road tripping. If you want to get around in good time, you have to spend that long driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, there'll be some days where we're doing double that a lot just to get across mostly. But
yeah,
it's nice to know that what we're thinking of doing is actually possible, good idea.
Yeah.
Still going to be able to fit a lot in, see a lot, which is what we wanted.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we're in the early stages of planning. So we're talking about reserving a camper van and all of that sort of thing. And we've started looking at things like flights, which again, I think a lot of people are going to be sat there thinking, oh my gosh, why are you looking at flights already? I won't lie, flights get very expensive. So pretty much the sooner we can book flights and nail down dates, the better, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we know what we're doing as well.
Yeah, because while I'm all for going with the flow and taking it as it comes, certain things I do like to plan.
And also, we're going to visit people on our return to the UK on the way back who live in different countries, and we kind of need to give them dates so that they can actually be around when we want to see them. So
yeah, exactly, because otherwise we'll just rock up and be like, oh, by the way, hi, we're here.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure they would appreciate that. So
especially given that we won't have had a shower for 2 months.
Oh, don't say that.
We'll just rock up with, like the cartoon.
Like flies all over us.
Yeah, and like the cartoon little weird green lines coming off you when you've been in the dustbin or something.
Stinking. Oh, gosh, no. We need to find showers. Please. Please. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Not really, because we've started our planning journey.
Yeah, we have.
We started our planning journey to plan our journey.
Yeah.
The journey of planning the journey. And we've not really got that far. Ultimately, we've got dates sorted, provisionally at least. We're in the process of getting camper van reserved. Mm-hmm. haven't actually planned what we'll be doing yet. We need to do a bit more research. Ratpack sent us a video of West Coast stuff.
Yeah, which is pretty so handy. Useful.
And we'll get a calendar through for East Coast stuff as well. So there's loads of things in the pipeline to carry on planning.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you know, we've got to plan other stuff like my mum and my sister are coming to Melbourne in just
a few weeks.
Just a few weeks now, yeah. So
yeah, I need to ask for that off.
Yeah, I need to have some days off.
Yeah.
So we need to plan some of that as well. We've been planning like festive period.
Yeah.
So everything we're doing at the moment in our spare time is like, right, we need to plan things to do. And hopefully, you know, it will start becoming more that we are doing things rather than just planning
things,
them. Yeah. From December onwards should be quite good fun.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, if you've ever done a road trip, be it in Australia or just in general, please let us know any tips you have for van life.
Or if you've been to Australia, let us know things on the east or west coasts that you should
definitely.
See.
I mean, obviously, I think everyone's done East Coast, so please let us know what you enjoyed and what you would maybe suggest you're not paying too much attention to. Or if you have done the West Coast, again, we would actually love any information on the West Coast. So please send it our way.
If you're Australian and you have experience of Western Australia, please tell us how not to get killed by all of the animals.
Yeah, aka the big spiders and the big snakes and the crocodiles. Thank you.
Because the way I had it described to me was I was talking to someone and they said, have you seen anything deadly yet? And I was like, no, not really. And they said, yeah, Victoria's not really too bad, to be fair. Go to WA. Everything can kill you there.
Oh, don't say that.
I was like, okay.
Don't say that. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. But, I mean, saying that, my one of my friends tagged us. I woke up to this thing this morning from her, and she tagged us in this post on Facebook where it's all of the crazy things that go on in Australia. So it's like crocodiles in your house or spiders all over the park.
I thought we were done with this because we got tagged in a lot of this stuff when we said we were going to come here. Yeah. We endured like nearly a year of people tagging us in this stuff on a weekly basis. It's like when I told my first year flatmates I was scared of birds and then got tagged in bird memes for the rest of the year.
Literally.
It's exactly the same thing. And I thought we were over with this now because we're here, we're experiencing it. And no, we're still getting tagged in stuff.
No, I think it's mainly because they're dealing with more spiders than we are.
Yeah, true, at the moment.
Because I think they're a bit resentful.
We had our first spider in the house.
I mean, we say that. It makes it sound like, oh, it's a giant spider. It was actually a kind of small spider.
It was like a house spider.
It was a house spider.
It wasn't deadly. It was, to be honest, it was probably going to do more favours for us by killing other bugs, but you still wanted to get rid of it. I didn't want
to take any chances. They're not English spiders, so I don't know what it does. It might be like Superman. I don't know. I just didn't want it in the house because it would have babies and then we'd have loads of spiders and then, yeah.
Western Australia is going to be fun for you.
It's going to be an interesting experience. I'm going to need a frying pan.
I think there's more effective weapons than a frying pan.
Okay, but what we're going to have in a van?
I don't know.
I don't think you can just get a big old frying pan and just whack them.
Fair enough.
But obviously, if anyone has any better tips...
Which I'm sure you will.
Which you probably will. Please send them over, because we'd really appreciate it. But we might wrap it up here today. Obviously, it's a bit of a shorter episode. I won't lie, we're both tired. We have a long day ahead of us at work. And obviously, I feel like my voice is starting to go a little bit, which isn't amazing. But obviously, yeah, we will catch you guys next week. As always, feel free to follow us on social media. You can follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at isitjustuspod. And you can follow me on Instagram at that's_just_Emily.
Or me at thatsjusticejames_98.
And hopefully the next time we speak to you, I won't sound like this. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Be sure to send over any recommendations for anything road trip wise. And we'll catch you guys next week.